Alright, today I want to talk about the 1.5 era of D&D, of AD&D. In the year 1983, which was when there was a crash, TSR got into financial trouble. This was the same year that Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars came out, and I think Crisis of the Infinite Earths didn't come out till the next year, but I could be wrong. It came out later that same year. But yeah, so it's in comics. This is often referred to as the beginning of the Dark Age, and I think the Dark Age for Marvel didn't start till later, though the roots of it were there. But they changed the covers of the books. This was the old cover of the Player's Handbook, and had a different one. This is the new cover of the DM's Guide, which I think is a much better picture than the Ifrit was. Here's the new version of the Monster Manual. And you can tell the 1.5 ones because they have these orange spines and because they tend to fall apart. I got this one at Toys R Us. Okay. Let's look at some of this art. So, one of the things about this era is I started translating. They came out with a new box set. This is the cover of it. The Metzinger box set. And this one got translated really badly into a whole bunch of different languages and became the best-selling D&D product ever. Here's some rough sketches of the picture and the final version for the red box, the Metzinger red box basic. And this was followed with an expert box, and then a champions box, and a master box, and even a box for turning into a god, an eternal box. So yeah, miniatures. They had miniatures. There's some various advertisements. This one looks really familiar to me. Another example of plagiarizing from comics. Never seen this picture before. It must be in some product I never bought. Because I didn't buy many modules. And there was an animated TV series that I never watched because the advertisements made it look stupid. Apparently, it was really good and had a thief acrobat and Tiamat in it. I wished I had watched it. Here's all the Arnspine books. Yeah, there are quite a lot of them. The Monster Manual 2. Yeah, they didn't need the Fiend Folio. They sure didn't need another one. I never got a copy of this. I can make up my own monsters. And Dragonlance was a new game world, which I hated. And somebody gave me a bunch of Dragonlance novels, and I didn't even bother reading them. I gave them to another person who was somebody I alternated DMing with, and he loved them and wanted to do Dragonlance. So, there's another picture I'd never seen before in the rough sketch. Another rough sketch in the final picture. Never seen this one before. That was a Dragonlance calendar. Here's some more art. Much of this I'd never seen. I didn't like Dragonlance. Okay, so Unearthed Arcana. Here's the original next to it. And the actual book looks better than this reprint. But yeah, this was rushed into print because they were desperate for money. It was made cheaply, and it's really rare to find a copy of Unearthed Arcana that the pages are not falling out of. Oriental Adventures. Here's the actual book compared to the art. Yeah, the book looks better. This one was the Legends and Lore book, which replaced deities and demigods because of the Satanic Panic. And there was a new magazine called Dungeon Magazine, which had a bunch of short adventures in it. There was a Wilderness Survival Guide, Adventures in Blackmoor. The Temple of Elemental Evil came out during this time. And The Village of Hamlet. Here's Gygax's rough sketch of it and the Temple of Elemental Evil, and the final Village of Hamlet map. I wished I'd gotten the Manual of the Plains. I used to love the Plains, and I'm a big fan of Jeff Grubb. I think this was his first book that got published, but I didn't. Forgotten Realms, to me, in my memory, it always seemed like the second edition game world, but it actually predates D&D and became part of D&D during the 1.5 era. So, yeah, the artwork started to get a lot better, but better meant less evocative. And there's Driz, who I had never heard of until sometime in the 3rd edition days. He was a character in books that I never read. Yeah, there was somebody who was really, one of the executives in TSR that took it over was really big into books. And during this era, she forbid playtesting. I can't understand that. Why would you forbid playtesting? Can you imagine Ford forbidding the engineers from test driving cars before they sold them to people? I just don't understand. But, you know, in her mind, oh, they're playing games on company time. And so some of the game designers would secretly on their own time test play stuff because they weren't allowed to do it anymore. And it shows in some of the stuff that got published in 2nd edition.